So in order to get this dissolve of this flare to pop up and just kind of come down, basically what we want to do is have it come on right about 2 seconds. So that's at frame 60, right? So what we're going to do is this. Come over here to the flare options, and there's the flare intensity. We want it 100% at 2 seconds, which is 60 frames. So hit E to go to the graph editor. Okay. And we're going to click the create key. That's that second little icon there. And we're just going to click it right about 60. Might not be exact, but then we'll go back to move, and then we can just enter in 60, 100%. Then we need to create another key nearby for it to fade up and another one for it to fade down. Okay. Go back to the move, and then we'll do this. Right mouse, you can select that first key. That's going to be 0%. So it's actually, you know what? I'm backwards. No, I'm right. I'm thinking about dissolve. Oftentimes in Lightwave, you're going to use an object dissolve, and you're going to do 100% for it to be dissolved out. In this particular case, I'm flare intensity, so I want a 0% intensity. So just confusing myself. This next keyframe, I want this flare to come up in maybe 4 or 5 frames. That's all it needs. So if it comes up at 60, let's go to 55. And 55, it's 0% dissolved. Okay? Then it's going to hold for maybe about 10 frames. So let's create one more keyframe there at 70. And that's also 100%. And then we'll right mouse to select the next keyframe. And from 70, how long is it going to take to fade out? I don't need it to go down as fast as it came up. Okay, so maybe we'll double it. So if it's at 70, we'll do it 80. Frame 80, 0%. Okay, so here's the flare. It's not showing. 5 frames it comes up, holds for 10 frames, and then goes down for 10 frames. But look at this weird curve. Now, this is something we saw when setting up the cameras in the sports animations. Okay, because I added more points, Lightwave is just doing its best to adjust the curves in between. But here's what we're going to do is hold the Shift key and double click to select all of those keys. Okay, and I click right in that curve window. For tension, set it to 1. And all of those now line up at the bottom. They stay put. They ease out, ease in, it holds straight, and then comes down. You can just click over here to deselect those. Okay, so that's our flare intensity. Holds at 0, up to 55 frames, 100% flare intensity at 60, stays there for 10 frames, which is a third of a second, and then 10 more frames, comes back down to 0%. We'll save scene. Now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot. I really don't think Viper actually shows our lens flares. Let me do a quick render here, because there's really no way to see these flares fade up and fade down until you do your final render. And that's unfortunate. But we can see them in layout, and I'll turn those on. But to get that full effect, we can't see it until the end. I just want to see if we can, not going to see it in Viper. Okay, but what you can do is press D, go to your display options, and go to OpenGL. And there is, where are my lens flares? Maybe it's under display. There's the OpenGL fog and OpenGL lens flares right there. So let's see. It's not as accurate. There's our hub again. Hello. Okay, and you're just going to see it kind of come on. You're not really going to see it fade. That's what I was talking. Well, actually, we'll see it fade. And I certainly can't see the particles entirely. The OpenGL's come a long way, and I often forget that I can turn some of these things on. So if I go back to the hypervoxels and select these, you can hit Show Particles. See that? Let's not do the blue ones. We don't need those. That'd be emitter 2. Let's see how this looks. If I drag see that? They don't really look that good. But you can see them in layout. That's hitting Show Particles. Okay, because it's just representation. Okay, I'm going to keep those off just for the time being. I think it'll help things a bit. Okay, so Here's our animation so far. We're going to rewind this, hit play. Particles are coming, streaking. See that flash? That's all it is. It seems like it's going to be longer, but that's all it is. Just a quick little flash. And at that point, that is where we're going to have our logo come out, and we're going to have other particles streak and glare for us. So we're saving the scene, pressing S. Let's go into Modeler, which isn't running. So I'll click the Modeler button. And we'll let that sucker come up. And now we need to make our logo. Now, typically these 7 logos in New York, Chicago, I think LA, they're just a circle 7. It's a pretty common logo. So what we're going to do is just initially start with our 7. So go to text, choose a 7, okay? And we're getting that default goofy computer font because I closed Modeler. So let's go down to Arial Black, which is a good looking font, okay? And while we're in here, we're going to press a big O like that. And actually, yeah, maybe we won't. Maybe I'll not use that. But let's turn off the text and go to polygon mode at the bottom. Let's select this and delete it. Let's just keep our 7 for right now. In another layer, I'm going to create a disk. But I'm going to hold the control key and click and drag so I can get a perfect circle. That's actually what we want. But before I commit to this, look at how chunky that is. And again, this is kind of what we're talking about when we built the football field, the first course. Increase those sides so it's nice and clean. In fact, I'm going to go to 64. I'm going to make this nice and clean because we're going to come in really close on that. So we want that edge very smooth. Okay. Function. Let's see. Just press F2. Centers it out. And now we want to make a hole in here. So I'm going to Command or Control C. Not that one. Okay. Command or Control C. Command or Control V in another layer to paste it down. And then you place your initial circle in a background as well as the 7. And the way you do that is you hold the Shift key. To add multiple layers, you hold the Shift key. I'm going to choose my size for multiply and make sure my mode is set to selection, which it is at the bottom. And I'm just going to size it down right to about there. Okay, now that 7 is going to need to be positioned a little bit just so it hits the bottom, does its thing, but that's okay. Now I'm going to press layer 2 as my foreground and then hit the background layer, okay, underneath that slash, and then I'm going to go Shift R for my template drill. And this is going to be used for flat objects, and I'm going to use it down the Z axis, which is in front of me. This is the Z. Again, XY is the view I'm working in, which means this is the Z. And I'm going to tunnel. And the reason I'm going to do this is I'm going to take the background, which is that dotted black line, going to take that out of the foreground. The cutting tool is always in the background. Okay? So I just made a nice little hole. And I know that the polygons are flipped. You can see there it is. So I'll just press F to flip those forward. Go to this layer and delete that. We don't need it anymore. And let's go Control S to save. And we're going to go circle 7 flat. Just so we have it. Make this a full frame. Press A. And then I'm going to press H for scale. And I'm just going to manipulate this a little bit because we want the 7 to actually attach. So I'm going to size it up like that. And maybe that's not the best font to use. And maybe it's better if we had an Illustrator file. But hey, you get the idea. I don't even know if the 7 attaches at the bottom. I would think it would. So you can come down here to point mode and even take these points and pull them down and attach them. We're just going to stick them right in there, see what happens. Okay, those are fine up there. And even, you know what you can do too? You can go to Modify and then choose Shear and just pull it like that. Give it a little something extra. And then T, just kind of move it. Yeah, who knows? Okay. All right, so that's good. So we're going to, I don't know if we could do this all at once. So I'm going to do it in 2 layers. So we're going to go to Multiply and Extrude. And we're going to extrude that out about that far. Then we're going to press Q to name it all of it. We're going to go 7 sides. polygon, select this polygon and the back polygon. Press Q and name this 7 bevel. And then with the bevel tool selected, of course, we're going to just create a nice little bevel like that, paying attention to the sides as well as the front, inset and shift. And then press Q and name this new polygon set face. Turn off the bevel and press the question mark / key. And let's not do that. Let's go Control S and we'll go 7 3D, which is the 3D version. So we always have our flat version to work with. And let's take the circle. Extrude. Extrude it out the same distance. Press Q. We'll call that 7 sides. We can use the exact same surfaces. Select this one, not that one. Hold the Alt key and rotate around. Shift, click to select the back. It's 2 polygons I'm selecting there. You can see it right down here. Press Q and name this selection bevel, so that when I bevel, I'm actually multiplying and leaving behind a surface, creating a new one, and that new surface is 7 face. Spacebar turns out the bevel. Question mark. Deselect. Command X to cut. Layer 7. Command V to paste. And there is our, whoops. There's our 7 logo. Okay. And maybe these points, I guess I should reference something like this. And kind of come in there like that. I'm not really sure. I think I like it the other way. I think I like it like that. Okay, so there's our 7 logo. We're going to go to a new layer. Select our text. Shift backspace and type news. And let's kern that a little bit by clicking and dragging this bottom guy here. There we go. And we'll go to polygons and maybe press T and just move that over just a little bit. Let's see how the S looks. Mr. S needs a little help over there. Okay, and we're going to go to modify and shear as well, and we'll just shear that just a bit. News has to be fast moving, so you got to italicize it. Okay, and let's pull this forward a bit, and now we're going to do the same thing again. Multiply, extrude, extrude it out, and we're going to select boom, 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 and then the back. Oh, you know what? Let's give it some surface first. Now, normally we would put different surfaces on here depending on what we're doing. This whole thing's going to be like this glassy metallic, similar to our football field, so we're just keeping it all the same surface. Make life a lot easier. Okay, and then we'll select these like that. And this should be 6 polygons. It looks like I got 8. Oh no, I'm an idiot. I can't count. It is 8. 4 letters, front and back, 8 polygons. Press Q. 7 bevel. Okay. And then we're going to actually do the bevel. So we left mouse to go in, move the mouse up, and that shifts it. Press Q, and this is our 7 face. Deselect by pressing question mark. Command X to cut. Go to first layer, Command V to paste. Then we'll press F2 to center, S to save, and we have ourselves a logo. Let's send it out to layout. Beautiful. And there it is, 7 news. Okay, now we're going to do something kind of fun with this, which is basically enhance our 3D, because right now everything's looking kind of cool and flat, but we have the power of 3D, and we're gonna pull this sucker right up through ourselves. Okay. Now there's a little trick we could do, which might be kind of neat, and it depends how you're going to use this. You can make a polygon that fits the shape of this 7 back here, just in there, that's green or blue or black, and you can fade it up as this logo comes closer. All right, and by fading it up, you're creating a way that your editor or your director can key this over and use it as a wipe. into your newscast. Okay, but for right now, let's just delete this keyframe and go back to 0. And let's move on to the next video, and I'll show you how we can animate this in with our flare.